is our topic. Which is the button I push? I'm sorry. Oh, it's this one on the top or this one? That one, okay. So I don't know whether you guys remember, well, some of you attended, there was a Zero Waste Food Forum in October 2014 put on by NCRA, very inspiring and it's apparently known as the Woodstock of foodways. And after that, NCRA had an annual meeting that I attended, and Ruth Abbey and John Moore were there, and we all sat down and said, we want to make something happen. These are great ideas, but we really want to follow up on that. So we, let's see. What we did is we said we need to understand what's going on in Alameda County and then what the opportunities are. And as you all know, edible food is being wasted and people are going hungry. As we move forward, we developed a proposal that Stop Waste funded, and we met up, we joined attended meetings with All In to End Poverty. That's a group that's put together by Wilma Chan for Alameda County. And we met up with Susan Miller-Davis, who produced this amazing graphic snapshot of the wasted food ecosystem in Alameda County. She got assistance from Ming-Wei Lo, a graduate student at UC Berkeley, on the graphic production. On the left side are the wasted food generators in the county, and on the right-hand side are the food recovery intermediaries, and on the bottom part are the recipients, the human recipients and the animal feeding recipients. And you all know about that food recovery hierarchy where the preferred approach, like recycling, is prevention. The next level is food for people, and then food for animals after that lower priority. So from our research, we determined that 72 to 115 million pounds of edible food are being wasted annually in Alameda County. This graphic, we received assistance from Sruti, a student at Cal. It's a heat map of food insecurity in the county. The darker colors, the areas where there's more food insecurity, lighter, less. And the red dots are some of the feeding operations programs of the Alameda County Community Food Bank that provided us with this data. 1 in 5 people in the county are food insecure, which means at any point during the month, they don't know where their next meal is coming from. So 113 million additional pounds of wasted food are needed to feed those, to help them meet their nutritional needs. In terms of how are we doing with food recovery, about 5 to 6 million pounds are being recovered. That's according to our informal research. Again, data is really challenging to get. So that graphic was really our look at the macro level, and we also did a micro level, more deep dive into the particulars. This is an area that's really in flux right now, and we learned that last year SB 1383 was adopted. It requires, and there should be some more information about this, I think this afternoon, Californians Against Waste is presenting. And this bill requires that 20% of edible food be recovered from landfills by 2025 by local jurisdictions. Cal Recycle is now holding workshops on the proposed regulations. They've already held 2 of them. I think there are more coming down the pipe. And as I understand it, I think they've got some grant funding to support more food recovery efforts. In any event, because of this legislation, Alameda County is going to have to triple our efforts at food recovery. Food recovery is, Ruth Abbey made this observation. She said, I think it's where recycling was in the 70s. It's the efforts are really being done by volunteers on shoestring budget. And we're hoping that maybe this legislation, just like AB 939 and all the other ones, will help to professionalize and increase the capacity. So why isn't more being recovered? That's what we really want to look at. We interviewed a whole range of folks in this space. We interviewed generators, material generators, schools, institutions, commercial, restaurants, or conducted research. There was a student at Cal who did his MA thesis looking at restaurants in Berkeley. recovered his material. We talked to food recovery intermediaries and recipient organizations, both animal feeding and people feeding. So here's what we learned. There's a lack of awareness. The generators of the surplus food don't even think they're wasting any. Stop Waste has been going into institutions and getting them to adopt the Smart Kitchen initiative and helping them measure that using Lean Path technology. They've been discovering how much they do waste. There's also, they don't know where to donate material. They think it takes too much work. They're concerned about liability. They don't know about the Good Samaritan law. And there are some other constraints. Because these are volunteer organizations, sometimes they're unreliable. The recovery also varies by food type. So the easiest type of material to recover is the shelf-stable groceries. And that's the Alameda County Community Food Bank is doing a really good job of that and ramping up their efforts. They've got a grocery rescue program that's been increasing its outreach and capacity. The hardest material to recover is bulk prepared food that shows up intermittently. And from our research, it looks like there's only 3 to 4 places that will take that material in the county. Large soup kitchens, St. Vincent de Paul, Emeryville Community Action Program, Assistance Program. There's inadequate data. You just saw, how many of you from your local jurisdictions know how much of your generators how much edible food waste is coming out of your generators? This is the big question, and one of the elements that the SB 1383 it's looking at calorie cycle, maybe funding some of that work to do in their next waste characterization study, try to get more data in that direction. There's new models and new technologies out there. Copia is one of them. There's another one called Replate that's similar, where institutions will pay for their material to be recovered and disposed. There's a group called Chefs to End Hunger that is a nonprofit tied in with a produce broker that collects material at the end of the day when they do the drop-off for the produce at the beginning. Great model. There's there's an app called Mogo that enables restaurants to sell their material, their leftover food at the end of the day for like 20 cents on the dollar. There's a guy here from Olio. It's a new app that comes out of England. Do you want to raise your hand? I know you wanted to network with people, so there's stuff out there, but it's really being adopted on a limited basis. There's secondary markets, value-added processing of the material, not really happening. There's stuff in the works. Animal feeding market, as you heard, the guy from American Licorice, his material goes to Merced for the animals. It's pretty much large animal feeding is not here in the state, in the county. They're small urban ranchers who are scavenging in county. Schools, we did a deep dive into the schools at the request of Stop Waste and learned that most schools don't waste much. It's the schools that have high rates of free and reduced lunch that have more material. It's because the kids are required to be served or offered foods that they don't care for. So Nancy Deming is an amazing resource in this area. Is she here? I don't know, but she has a food share table guide for schools, as well as she's coming out soon from Stop Waste with a school food donation guide. That should be released shortly. And then policies. As you know, policies always get in the way. Let's see. And let's see. So we came up with a menu of recommendations that fell into 3 categories, as you see. With over 40 potential strategies listed on the levels of intensity, and I've got several examples to share with you. In the education and data example, an appetizer is to create, maintain, distribute publications of listing donations and prevention guide. This is something that Nancy is working, that the school food donation that she's putting together she's working with the Alameda County Department of Environmental Health on that. They're interested in doing something similar with restaurants, so there is hope going forward that that'll be coming out. In the policy example, we chose something from the small plate category, so adopting policies that allow and encourage nonprofits to repurpose recovered food and sell it for cash to subsidize their operations. A number of these food recovery organizations receive material that they won't feed to their recipients. Pastries, desserts, stuff that doesn't have any nutritional value. they could resell it and make some money. And in the logistics and infrastructure example, more capacity, again, a small plate category, food pantries handle bulk prepared items. So, for example, GoBox could partner with some of these pantries because the bulk food it can't be portioned off. The food pantries don't have the capacity to distribute bulk food, but they do handle bulk individually packaged prepared foods to give to individuals. So if they could repackage it into individual portions, then their clients could receive it. Anyway, that's a thought. So if you're hungry for more, coming soon. Our report is currently getting towards the end where we're going to be Stop Waste, our funder, needs to review it before it can be publicly released, but this will be available and we're available. I'm here. Susan Miller-Davis, who helped, Ruth Abbey, who you guys all know. We're here available to answer questions, and thank you to all the people who helped contribute. I also want to thank Andrea De Leon, Sandra Frost, Lance Nishihara, and Sruti, who all helped with putting this work together.
Hey. Oh, nice job.
Thanks.
Nice job. Woo-hoo. Okay, questions. Looks like Steve Sherman's got one, and then Kevin Miller.
Steve Sherman, Alameda County Recycling Board. You mentioned logistics and infrastructure development. In Alameda County alone, municipal recycling coordinators have established exclusive franchises with waste recycling and organics haulers to the tune of over $100 million a year in those municipal contracts. To my knowledge, not one penny of it is subcontracted or required to be subcontracted to any food rescue organization, which in my mind serves as a hauler also and a logistics provider of high social value. I'm wondering whether there's an opportunity there for municipal recycling coordinators in cities to re-examine some of that and to widen the pool of who actually provides that service in Alameda County and elsewhere.
I'll summarize the question. The question is whether or not we can include food recovery into hauling contracts.
So some of this I might defer a little bit to Ruth Abbey, who's really expert in franchise agreements, but the Cal Recycle in their discussions or workshops around the implementation of 1383 are looking for comments like that to try to think about regulation. So I know I read over a transcript of one of those, and they're open to suggestions, and they're actually some of their grant funding is to encourage collaboration between haulers and food recovery, and there is recognition that the recovery sector is providing a useful service to haulers.
Kevin?
You mentioned 1383, so it's 20% of the edible food recovered?
Yep. Is somebody here from Cal? Sorry.
How are they going to know how much? How would they go about it?
So is somebody here from Californians Against Waste? Part of what they're doing they're going to be doing moving forward is they've got the funding for their waste characterization is to establish a baseline. This is about how to establish the baseline for the edible food, and so I think Cal Recycle is working on that question right now.
Okay, Amy?
I just wanted to just mention, this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart, but also to the gentleman from Alameda County. I'm from Los Angeles, so we're way behind you guys in a lot of things, but the one thing they have done, they've gone to an exclusive franchise agreement in Los Angeles. They're working all the kinks out in 2017 and really going in full implementation in 2018, and they have put that mandate on the haulers to recover 20%. This is before they even knew about SB.
Wow.
So
Look to LA.
you all heard that, right? LA is already ahead of the game and putting that 20% into their contracts.
First time ever.
Thank you. Nice job, Susan. Thank you.